My name is Rosary Escano. I'm a marketing and brand strategist. I own my own company called KRE8 Corporation. So we mount events, we produce events, and we also do storytelling events. We produce content. I live in Milton, Ontario, and I've been here for over 20 years. We moved to Canada, Kim and I, as a newly married couple in 2004. We came here because Kim's family, his relatives, they've been here for probably over 50 years. So he came here for a visit and he liked what he saw. So when we were dating, he also proposed the idea of probably migrating to Canada in the future. So my first impression of Canada was, because we arrived, I still remember it very clearly. We arrived July 31st, 2004. So it was summer, it was evening. So I still remember, wow, it's such a huge country. It's so expansive. Too many lights for like a late evening. And it was, most of the houses, they were cookie cutter, and very orderly. Bordering on the point of like not much activity. I grew up because in the city, so looking for action and looking for things to do. As a new immigrant, the opportunity to start life anew, start fresh, was something I looked forward to. So coming here, there were no expectations. I think that was the best thing, because it was like blue skies for us. We could do anything we wanted and start fresh. Nobody knew us here. So there was no pressure at all, except for family, but they were very supportive. It was really trying to apply. I wanted to work for a non-for-profit organization. But I think the challenge as a new immigrant is they're looking for Canadian experience, which obviously I didn't have. So it was the struggle of finding work that fit your experience back in the Philippines, and having that opportunity to share your talent or the skills that you developed through the years. So that was a challenge for me, finding that and navigating. But I guess, as I said, because starting fresh, then I had the opportunity to choose whatever industry I wanted to work in. In the beginning, I started with call centers, customer service. So one thing I learned about that was being able to know more about the nuances in Canadian life, the Canadian speak, the jargon, the geography. So learning those little things helped me also assimilate faster. I think the good thing about it, having no expectations when you come here, is that you're open to learning new things and finding the good, even in what people may consider small work. I found the good in it because I thought, hey, learning something, those pop culture, how to assimilate how they speak, the words that they use, I think was very helpful. I remember my first job to be Wells Fargo. So it's a bank, it's a financial institution. So they just set up here in Canada. And I remember that was my first experience doing corporate work. So I'm not a finance person, but at least learning about mortgage also helped me understand the way of life here, how it was to navigate that industry as well. From Wells Fargo, I moved to HSBC. And then from HSBC, I moved to Genworth Financial. From Wells Fargo to HSBC, it was more on funding coordination and account executive, doing mortgage, reviewing mortgage, and also finding clients. It was more on the mortgage side. But I also experienced at HSBC Finance how it was to be laid off because the entire department was shut down because of the mortgage crisis back in, I believe that was 2007 or 8. I experienced that and moved to another company, also doing the same thing as a mortgage specialist. But through there, I think it's relationships with people. It's meeting other people who helped you lead to where you should be. I remember sitting at my desk when I used to work for the last financial institution before I worked for ABS-CBN, how grateful I am to be in Canada. So I said, how can I give back to my home country and still enjoy the privileges of being here in Canada? I prayed about that, and 2 weeks later, the managing director of ABS-CBN, whom I didn't know, called me and introduced himself and asked me if I wanted to work and apply for ABS-CBN. For over a decade, I worked with ABS-CBN as the Regional Marketing Director for North and Latin America. My main assignment was really to connect with the community, making Filipino experiences and content accessible to the Canadian community and to the American community. And that was history. So for over a decade, I helped build the community here in Canada, relationships between the company and the community so that we could make Filipino experiences and content available. I believe the pandemic changed a lot of people's perspective in life. That includes me. It was there where I realized the value of having more time with family, the value of time to do things that you love, that you will have more creative freedom to do, and maybe even control of. You'll have more control of your life. I am very, very grateful to ABS-CBN for giving me the opportunity to serve the community through them and be the face of the company for a decade. But after that, I realized, because I wanted to do other things as well and have more time to be and to spend with my family and doing things that I wanted to try, so that I couldn't do because, of course, there are corporate limitations. So my husband and I decided to create a consultancy company called KRE8. It's actually, the spelling is based on our names, KRE8, because my husband's name is Kim. So it was an opportunity for us to be able to try to create. We love that word, to create new things. We love building things from scratch, to ideate, to come up with something new that would challenge status quo, that would challenge, hey, you know, we can do other things. We can do bigger things. So KRE8 is a marketing, an events, and a storytelling company. Through KRE8, we were able to help Filipino organizations and even companies to build their brand, to elevate it, and to be able to say that Filipinos can do this. We took pride in building a brand who did more concerts and events that were celebrating also pop culture, Filipino pop culture, and allow people to have that feeling of nostalgia by bringing artists here, reaching to a wider audience. So we helped market Eraserheads, where we had a 12,000 audience in Hamilton. We did Jose Marichan concert at the end of the year, where we brought the nostalgia of Christmas to a lot of Filipinos. We did Cine Film Fest, which is the inaugural film festival that celebrates Filipino storytelling. And now we're doing Tayo, an event that hopes to celebrate who we are as we celebrate Filipino Heritage Month in June, and also the 75th anniversary of Philippine and Canadian friendship. Filipino heritage is reflected in my work in all aspects of it, because I feel that I want to represent the Filipinos here in Canada through the projects that we do that helps bring in the non-Filipinos to appreciate who we are, not just as the model myth that we are as hardworking people or who we are in terms of profession, but who we are also as people and as a culture, and how our traditions, our values contribute to the multicultural mosaic of Canada. So I belong to a good number of Filipino organizations where I represent these organizations to the rest of the community. So beginning with a global organization I'm part of, it's called Filipina Women's Network. We are an organization of awardees of the 100 most influential Filipina in the world. Through this, as ambassador for Canada, I am able to find and reach out to a lot of influential women, invisible women making great strides here in the community, so that we are able to celebrate them and so that we can also be inspired by the work that they do. I'm also a part of the Cine Institute, which celebrates Filipino storytelling and will actually utilize content to discuss significant issues that matter not just to us as a culture and as a community, but also how it relates to the rest of Canada. So it could be either on mental health, it could either be on values of family, etc. I'm also a part of Philippine Center of Canada in Ottawa. I'm a board member of that as well. And so my contribution there is more about how the youth can be incorporated, how we can help them also through projects that will help them, uplift them, and embrace who they are as Filipinos. Representation for Filipinos in media, we have done great strides already. However, it still needs that representation. While there have been positive portrayals of Filipinos in media, there is still that need for authentic representation. For instance, we have always been stereotyped as caregivers and nurses, but actually in content, you don't see them. There's still no Filipinos representing or portraying the roles as nurses. One change that I'd like to see is for more influencers, actors, writers, directors to share their stories so that we would have more accurate representation of who we are that's also more respectful. Since I moved to Canada, I never really experienced extreme discrimination except to feel a little bit of passive-aggressive treatment. I was told, "You speak good English. How come you speak good English?" Otherwise, I was blessed to be given the opportunity to be upgraded. I was given the opportunity by the companies I worked for to study, that they will also support that. It's been a good experience so far, aside from the Canadian experience and not being given a chance. I believe it's also how you portray yourself, because a lot of Filipinos have also been stereotyped as submissive and just passive and taking it on. Maybe there are other cultures, they would attempt to do that because they think as Filipinos, oh, you're submissive. And once you fight back, then they realize, oh, she's not, right? So I think it's that kind of representation I want, is to be able to show that, hey, we Filipinos, we also know how to defend ourselves, to speak up, and to say that, hey, you know, we're confident enough because we also have a space in this community to be able to strengthen our representation. Part of the work I do, and it's become a mission, is for how do we as Filipinos celebrate who we are as, and allow the rest of Canada to get to know who we are, and not just to live within the bubble of the Filipino community where we feel, oh, it's safe, we can be just who we are. But then it's nice to actually put ourselves out there and make ourselves visible through the work we do, through the projects that we create, And also through the relationships that we build, that we know that we can also contribute so much more here in Canada. One of the missions I feel I have and I would like to take on is really, how do we bring together the Filipino youth to be proud of their heritage and their roots? That as they discover who they are and their identity, being Filipino is about the values that we grew up with, the values of family, the values of even spirituality, the values of relationships, and the sense of humor that we have. The resilience is not a cliche, but it's innate in us because that's been passed on. That we ourselves, we should be proud of our contributions, that we should put it out there that we're Filipinos, and we should not be ashamed of it because there's so much we can give and to share. And we are already making great strides. It's just a matter of us just coming together as a community to do that together. Adventure. Kim and I came here, no expectations, no kids. We came here newly married. We just wanted to see, hey, what's it like to live in Canada, to live outside of the Philippines, and experience what it's like to be able to contribute to, and grow as individuals and as a couple. Filipino pride. I didn't realize that coming here, being able to achieve a childhood dream of working for media came true here in a different form. It was about community service, and it's about imagine being given that opportunity in a different country to celebrate you and to bring with you your being Filipino in everything that you do and who you are and how you represent yourself to the rest of the community. Third word, gratitude. Coming here to Canada is probably one of the best decisions we ever made. This adventure has become an amazing ride for us because of the opportunities that were given to us as immigrants, as a second chance, and in a different country altogether. The chance to even be able to share our skills and talents and still maintain who we are as Filipinos and give of ourselves to the rest of the community by sharing it through the skills that we have and still bring along the culture, the values, and how we are able to share that to the rest of the world, I think is already the biggest blessing that we have being here.